disappeared. There we go. So good morning if you are joining on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Should be working now on Instagram. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Monday morning. Let's do some focus on breath. I'm going to start off with some movement and with two of the qigong flows that are really focused on the lung meridian. And then we're going to do some seated breath work, and we're going to go back to a really basic oxygen advantage practice, which I've started using again with some of the groups that I'm working with to focus on that light breathing. So that's the plan of action for today. Let's see what happens. Let's take our feet shoulder width apart. Let me just put that light on so you can see a little bit better there. Shoulder width apart, standing tall, and just starting. As always, we're just getting the spine mobilized, knocking. Breathing just easily in and out through the nose. Just letting the arms relaxed, shoulders relaxed. And you're just glancing side to side. Don't feel as if you have to rotate the head a lot. Just glancing side to side. The head is just, it's almost like floating, balancing on top of the spine. Don't think of this as an exercise. Just think of it as some really nice, easy movement just to get the blood flowing. Bringing the hand that swings, or the arm that swings across the front into the light fist, and then you're just tapping just by the collarbone, just on the pec muscle, just gently tapping. Not only are we getting the blood flowing, but also movement and breath help with lymphatic drainage as well. So we're just helping to cleanse and clear the toxins from our body, from our systems. Back again to belly and back. And slowing that down. Really contrast that with that little bit of resistance. Moving into water waves. Maybe slowing the breath a little bit again, not forcing the breath, but as we slow the movement, maybe just bring awareness to slowing the breath. And take a rest. Spinal cord breathing. As we breathe out, so that it's the normal breathing in, so we just are bringing the elbows back, breathing in there. As we breathe out, we're just going to go into a little bit of a reach forwards. So it's almost like a tabletop back. But again, not forcing anything. If that feels uncomfortable, just do the standard spinal cord breathing where we breathe in and then we breathe out like that. But if you want to give yourself that little bit more of a gentle lengthening, gentle stretching, So we're breathing in as you open, and then breathing out either as we curl up into a little ball, or if you want to just extend that into a little bit more of a squat and a lengthen. It's like a morning stretch. And breathing easy through this. Just breathing just the right volume of air, not breathing too much, not breathing too little. Breathing should be quiet as well. Let's do one more in your own time. Nice, and then come up to standing. Bring your feet about hip width, just stand for a moment. Seeing how that feels. And then stepping out. A little bit of dog wags the tail. So it doesn't have to be a big movement, this. I was working with a client on Friday, and the smaller we made this movement, the more effective it became. If it's too big, we start to try and move, or I'm moving my shoulders, or I'm moving my head. If you make it really small, it just gives you that feeling of that ripple through the spine. And slow it down. Come back just to stand again, nice and tall. And then stepping out for a little bit of a shake. And again, you can keep this gentle, or if you want to be a bit more vigorous, you can make it a little bit more vigorous. See how you feel this morning. See what works for you. And here we can take that slightly fuller breath, just gently through the nose, and we can let go through the mouth. Like a cleansing and clearing, breathing in, and let go. Good old shake, shake it all out, free up the shoulders, let the head go a little bit, tapping the heels into the ground if that feels okay. Let's do one more full breath in, and good. Slow it down and coming to standing, opening up the shoulders. Feeling where it tingles. Slowly letting the breath settle, keeping that breath calm, easy in and out through the nose. So two really good qigong flow movements that focus on the breath are Buddha holds up the earth. So breathing in, And breathing out. And just keep that breath very calm, light, soft in and out through the nose. If it's too challenging to breathe with the movement, just let the breath be absolutely natural, soft and light in and out through the nose. Don't feel as if you have to breathe in any particular way. Don't feel as if you have to do breath work. Just let that breath be natural. And you find your own rhythm and follow your rhythm. Follow your breath. Really feel the body expanding, lengthening as you're breathing in. And then softening as you're breathing out, contracting, softening as you're breathing out. Do 2 more in your own time. And then take a little rest. And the next one, soaring crane. So we sort of like breathed up, if you like. Now we're going to breathe across. So breathing, breathing in. And then rotating, shoulders, elbows, and then connecting index finger and thumb and breathing out. And again, feel how everything expands as you breathe in and then everything softens as you breathe out. And think of the name soaring cranes. As you see cranes, birds fly, they expand, lift. And remember, these are full body movements. So how does it feel in the feet? The feet connected to the ground. What happens with your center of gravity? Do you feel that slight shift forwards and backwards? It's not just an arm movement, there's a whole body involved. What happens with the spine? That chest lifts a little bit as you breathe in and expand. What happens with the head? Just explore everything throughout the body as we're doing this movement. Nice and slow, rhythmical. And then slowly just lowering the arms as you're breathing out. As one client said to me, it's the soaring crane coming into land. Quite like that. And then taking a rest. Pulling down the heavens, gentle breath in, breath out. Again, see how slow you can go, but still feeling calm and relaxed. Smooth, easy breathing. Moving into bamboo in the wind. Standing posture. Bringing the feet together, just closing your eyes. Now taking a full breath in through the nose. Expanding the chest, expanding the lungs, opening your eyes at the top of the breath. Stepping out. Just giving yourself a bit of a brush down. And taking your time just to come back to or come into a comfortable seated position. That may be on a chair, it could be on the floor, but wherever you're going to feel comfortable for the next 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. We are going to do a little practice that is sort of like one of the go-to oxygen advantage practices. The idea with, or one of the underlying principles of oxygen advantage is to remember that we can breathe too much air. And I think that's one of the big, when I'm speaking to people or new people who I'm working with, it's like, oh, didn't realize that. Yes, of course, we can breathe too little, but we can breathe too much air. We can overbreathe. And if we overbreathe, we disturb the balance of our oxygen in the blood and a carbon dioxide in the blood. This is something I think in a lot of breath work that is often not really focused on. We'll do a lot of attention on biomechanics, quite rightly, but on that biochemical element of having the right balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the blood. You can measure quite simply your SpO2 or the levels of oxygen in your blood by using a pulse oximeter. They became very popular in COVID because everybody was checking their blood oxygen saturation. But it's very difficult without any medical intervention to measure your CO2 levels. So one of the simplest ways you can do this to notice that you are sort of like on the edge of where your CO2 levels are is to see how light you can breathe without it feeling like, oh, this is awful, without it creating anxiety. And I was reminded of this really simple practice when we did the last Oxygen Advantage instructor training up in Scotland, because Alice, I know, has done some work with you on the Zoom sessions, uses this, and it's a really simple practice. So I'm going to take my glasses off to demonstrate. All you do is you just cup your hands around your nose. Now, I know that maybe some of you don't like that. If you don't want to do it, don't do that. We can just focus on making the breath a little bit lighter. But if you're comfortable with doing this, you're just cupping your hands over your nose. Your thumbs are resting gently under the chin. Now I'm going to take my hands away, otherwise I'm just going to sound really weird talking to you as you go through the practice. But just get that idea now of just focusing on the breath. And we might pretty soon get to that point where you feel that sense of really light air hunger. Now, we don't want it to be uncomfortable, but you do want it to feel slightly on the edge of that. So it wants to be slightly at that point where you feel, yeah, I could do with a little bit more air. But stay with it if you can stay with it. Keep the breathing light and keep it soft. Remember, we can still breathe deep into the ribs, so you can still breathe deep into the ribs. It doesn't mean to say you're breathing big volumes of air. So just breathing naturally, not breathing in any particular count, but just breathing naturally and feeling, hopefully getting to that point where you're feeling that sense of light air hunger. I just could do that little bit more air. Now, this is not dangerous because you can, if it feels really uncomfortable, you just move your hands. So there's nobody forcing you to do this. So if it starts to feel too much, you just take a slightly fuller breath. But if you can stay on the edge, what is happening is that as you're breathing out into those cupped hands, is you're breathing out carbon dioxide. But because we've got our hands cupped, you're then breathing some of that carbon dioxide back in. So it's giving you that little bit more carbon dioxide. So it's helping us to build our tolerance to that increase in CO2. Now, as long as we're staying comfortable with that and in that sort of like area of light air hunger, that's absolutely fine. We're not getting too much CO2 because obviously will be a point where CO2 builds up so much that you have to offload that CO2. But see if you can stay with that sense of light air hunger, because this is building your tolerance to CO2. And we know if we can stay with that light air hunger without it becoming awful or not feeling good, is that you're not creating too much CO2. You're not breathing in too much CO2. And if that's working for you, see if we can breathe even less. So you can feel the air as you're breathing out into the hands. See if you can make that even less. See if you can breathe a little bit less. Again, if it feels uncomfortable, you're in control. You just take another breath. It's not about forcing, but you should feel that slight edge. So just staying with that for another 30 seconds or so. soft, light. Remember, you can still breathe deep. It doesn't have to be big into the back, into the ribs, into the belly. Feel that air. Those areas respond to the breath. That sense of light air hunger. So very soft, light, easy breathing into those cupped hands, breathing back that CO2. And then when you are ready, you can take your hands away. Take a maybe slightly fuller breath, maybe have a little twist. Good. I know we've got people watching on Zoom. I know we've got people commenting, maybe can comment on Facebook and YouTube. Who got a sense, could you get that feeling of light air hunger with that? Yeah, good. Quite a few of you there. So remember the good old-fashioned way when people were having a panic attack, what they would do is give you a paper bag to breathe into. So that's all you're doing there, is you're just getting that CO2 back into the system. So often we think that CO2 is bad, it's a waste gas. Yes, it is a gas that's created from oxygenation of the cells, and we do need to breathe that out, but we also do need the right levels to make sure that we get fully as oxygenated as optimally as possible in the cells. Good, excellent. Let's just do a couple of minutes of box breathing. So just to finish off. So we're going to do 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds pause. Remember, there's that subtle difference between holding something and pausing something. There is a difference when you're holding the breath as to pausing the breath. So that would be a nice way to finish off and get us alert, focused, but also calm and relaxed for the rest of the day. Get yourself into a comfortable seated position, nice and tall through the spine, relaxing into the face. Remember, inner smile is always nice to have, so that sort of like edge of the mouth, because it helps to open up the airways. And then we'll prepare just by taking a breath out, and you'll be breathing in. Letting your breath settle back. Just a really quick box breath there, but you don't have to do too long on these breathing practices. Remember, we don't have to go and wander off for 2 or 3 hours and breathe, which is great if we can do, but just these little 2 or 3 minutes can make all, or will make all of the difference. Brilliant. Thanks for joining as always. We will be back on Wednesday. We'll be focusing a little bit more on movement. We'll still do some qigong, but we'll be doing more sort of like movement. And just to head up now is that there'll be no session on Bank Holiday Monday. I will keep you notified on that in the emails, but I'm having a break on Bank Holiday Monday, so there'll be no sessions then. Thanks for joining. Thanks, great to see people on Instagram, lots and lots more people on Instagram, which is good. Thanks for the Zoomers and Facebook and YouTube. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.